Morning, beautiful. It's great to see you. It's good to be out here. We're not going to stay out here, but I just have to show you. It's too windy, you see. You can hear the wind. But I just want to show you what's happening because it's been so long since we've been in the back garden. So over there, the magnolia tree pretty much stripped of its blooms. That's the thing that happens in spring. There's all this wind. So the magnolias flower and then they all get blown to pieces. And we have cineraria and we have the cassia bush going bananas. Amy, good morning! And we have the iris, which I'm so glad I took the time to stake. Because they would have been, some of them would have been broken. So they are coming. And I used flax. See these sticks? These are old flowers from the flax bushes that you can see up there. They make really good stakes. So, the iris also choose totally the wrong time of year to flower because they get blown to pieces. But this one's fresh and beautiful, and it has a very sweet tropical fruit smell. So you can imagine that. And we have bluebells en masse coming out, and aren't they fabulous? Good morning, Amy. And the other wonderful thing that's happening is that the granny's bonnet is starting to come out. So you can see all that happening. We'll go up to that level of things and look at the granny's bonnet. It's just starting. There it is, blowing in the wind. So they're always very pretty, and there's just so many of them that I just planted a whole bed with them. And you can see this is a really cute one with a white centre in it. So gorgeous. So that's what's happening out here. To show the other side, and then we're going to go inside. So a lot of wind, a lot of rain. I don't know if you saw the photograph I took at the top of the hill, but there's a massive mudslick in the harbour that's come down from the hills. This is what's left of the star magnolia. And, this beautiful magnolia sayonara, you can see the petals have been thoroughly beaten up by the stormy winds, but that's what happens at this time of the year. And look, I've got to show you this. It's beautiful. Rain drenched and everything. Isn't that glorious? It is a jonquil. Its name is Iolanthe, I happen to know. Good morning, Linda. So we're just out here in the rain-soaked garden where the Cuban lilies are starting. They're another kind of bluebell, actually. Same family. And they're fabulous. Look at the shape here in this. It's just gorgeous. The buds are as beautiful as the flowers. They remind me of, I don't know, some kind of twisted building top like what you have in those amazing turrets in Russia. And look at how long the daffodil and jonquil foliage is now. It just gets really long and falls over. And last but not least, we have the white bells. We have bluebells over there and we have the white bells. And we have more granny's bonnet. I'm going to have to pull some of those out. There's just so many of them. Soldiers and sailors still going absolutely bananas. Good morning, everybody. I can see you're on Facebook. Hasn't told me who you are, but I welcome you to my windswept, rainy garden. Gee, maybe it's not too bad out here, but the wind is noisy when it comes, so I think we're going to go inside. Oh, one more thing to show you. Even from the back, it's the Gladiolus tristis. This is a species Gladiolus. Turn this around. Oh, it's really beaten up by the weather, but you can see the shape, and it's glorious, and it's just a very simple flower. But yeah, it's been wild. You can tell. So there you go. That's the back garden update. The polyanthus is still going. That's a 30-year-old clump, that is. And this is something else that's nice. This is a kind of sedum? No, I can't remember its name, but look at the flower. And the name escapes me at the moment. It looks a little bit like a sage. Maybe it is a relative. It's got a name, but I've forgotten what it is. So, now let's go inside and talk about quantum creation and what the heck that is. And if it's just some stupid idea that doesn't actually work, or if there is a how-to, if there is a way to make it work, if there is a process, if there's actually science around it. And according to what I've learned, there is. Which is really nice because it means if there's a law, if there's a process, if there's a thing that actually works, well, there's a thing that actually works, and that means that we can learn how to do it. Hello to my thumb. So, just getting myself organised here, and I'll get the clock out so I know what time it is. Yeah, I knew I'd spend a whole 5 minutes wandering around the garden, but there you go. It's beautiful out there. Sandy, good morning. So, yeah, I want to talk about this whole thing. Okay, the internet bumped, it's caught up. This thing that I'm always talking about is making something out of nothing, right? That you want something different in your life. Oh, fine, think positively, imagine it clearly, do all the things, and it's not happening. And I relate to this from my personal experience, because I did it because I didn't know what else to do. So, yeah, let me start by telling you about a piece of research, which, of course, I learned about from my inspiration, Joe Dispenza. Who else? Nobody else has showed me anything that actually worked. Now, there's different things that work for different people, so I'm just talking about my experience and what works for me. So here's the research. A group of researchers got a bunch of people who were very experienced intenders or prayers, or, people who actually know how to connect with whatever you call divinity and at least know that there's a real connection, and probably they had some criteria about, what sort of results do you get. I don't know how they chose their experienced prayers, but they did. Good morning, Andrew! And they took these people and they had vials of DNA. And the vials of DNA were in a remote location. They were not in the same room as the people who were doing the praying or the intending, that thing that you do when you connect with something outside of yourself. So what the researchers said to these people was, look, we want you to visualize and imagine that the DNA, because the DNA is all wound up into chromosomes, right? And when DNA is going to do something, the chromosome unwinds. And then it does its thing and then it winds up again. And the researchers said to the prayers, we want you to visualize and imagine, put all this great intention and clarity about seeing this DNA unwind and rewind and unwind and rewind. Just imagine it. They must have shown them pictures so they knew exactly what they were, creating and expecting. And they did this for a period of time. And, the researchers at the remote location looked at the DNA and guess what happened? Nada. Not a thing. Zero, zip, yet, bupkis, nothing. So then they said to the prayers, okay, now we want you to just feel an immense sense of gratitude and joy and delight because the DNA has unwound. It's done what you wanted. Just feel the wonderfulness of it happening. Don't imagine it, just feel the feeling of, oh, it's done, the DNA's unwound, it's what I wanted, I got what I wanted, yay, Celebrate that. Be in the state of gratitude. They did that for a period of time. The researchers looked at the DNA. Again, guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing at all. So these experienced prayers, they put a clear intention around it. That's a thoughtful, brainful process, right? That's a function of the mind. And then separately, they put an elevated emotion around what they wanted. That's a function of the heart. Elevated emotion comes from the heart. Do you know how long it took me to work that out? I don't know why. I thought elevated emotions came from somewhere else. I didn't realise that you can't have elevated emotions without your heart opening to some extent. That was a real revelation to me. Really? The heart independently processes emotions and you basically don't get those emotions unless your heart's open? Shit. Well, that tells me something about me. So, anyway, that, detour. So, that was what they got those prayers to do. And then they said, okay, now, we want you to hold this clear intention in your mind. We want you to see this. We want you to imagine it. We want you to, imagine the DNA, the chromosome unwinding and rewinding and unwinding and rewinding. And we want you to feel the elevated emotion, the excitement of, oh my God, you did it. Hi, Jocelyn. We made it happen. Woo, thank you. Do them both at the same time. Have a clear intention. Have an elevated emotion. And so they did the experiment again, however long it was, the prayers did this combined clear intention, elevated emotion. Guess what happened? 25%, fully 1/4 of the DNA in this remote location, long way away from them, unwound and rewound. It responded. So what that tells you, and I'm sure I know this isn't the only example, but it's a really wonderful one because it's so discreet, it's so clear. Clear intention, dandy, no result. Elevated emotion, dandy, no result. Clear intention and elevated emotion, result. Might never matter at a distance. So this is the formula. It is actually a formula. And for me, actually, when I first really started to, do the internal tango with this concept and this formula and how the hell does this actually work for me? I mean, really, how do I do this? And I remember, because I got myself Joe's online progressive workshop, and in that workshop, you go through it, and there are meditations that you do for transformation, changing yourself, and one of them, you have to put together, I still have a little piece of paper somewhere, an intention. You have to say, well, I want this thing, and you choose a symbol to represent. Now, it could just be a letter, or it could be a little picture that you draw, but, the easy one is a letter, and you put 2 wiggly lines around it. One of the wiggly lines, hi Robin! One of the wiggly lines represents your clear intention, and the other wiggly line, circle, represents your elevated emotion, right? There's 2 components to your thing that you are wanting to manifest. And in the process of, so you pick this thing that you want, and it doesn't matter what it is, you just pick one, just pick one, doesn't matter, because everything will change. And then when you want this, that you want this thing, right? So if you get this thing, what will you be doing? And it's like, what does that actually mean to you? And the wonderful example that Joe tells, and I just borrow it relentlessly because it's so good, is when his son wanted to manifest a new job. And you can read about it in his book, Becoming Supernatural. But, he was on the phone with him because he just got back from a long holiday and he needed to earn money and, no, that came later. See, I'm screwing up the story. But the core of it is this. They were setting this intention, and he said to his son, well, Jace, what do you want to do? Oh, well, I want 6 to 12 months contracts, so I want to be able to work anywhere in the world, and I want to make more money or the same as what I was earning before, and I want to really love what I do. Okay, those are the things that you want. Those are the conditions. That's the clear intention. This is the thing that you desire in a job, and they used the letter J, right? Right, when you have that job, how are you going to feel? Well, I'm going to feel empowered, I'm going to feel grateful, I'm going to be in love with life, I'm going to feel free, and he just rattled them off. And of course his son just rattled them off when they were having this conversation, because Joe's been doing this a long time and his son had grown up with these concepts. Me, when I was trying to work out what my little letter was and what the things were that I wanted and what the feelings were, it was like, oh shit, I got to stop this. I got to hit the pause button. I just had to think and think and think and think and feel, and what do I want? Because it was so hard for me to get to grips with the felt experience, because the felt experience was a long way away from me. And to really think, actually, what do I want? Because the thing I've started to understand about myself for a long time, but I didn't understand it, is that all of the normal things just never lit me up. So you're looking for something that you feel some kind of response to, and some kind of excitement, or, oh, that'd be lovely, or that'd be so satisfying, whatever it is. And it's like, shit, I don't know. So it's that moment that in the next 8 minutes, I want to try to unpack. Because the clear intention and the elevated emotion are things that once you get clear on them, you can practice them, right? And, that's a whole other journey, because it took me a long, long, long time. Hi, Laura! It took me a long, long, long time to connect with elevated emotion. I had to practice that, man. It wasn't easy because it was foreign to me and my heart was closed and, tra-la-la. So what did I do? And what was I trying? I think I did A for abundance, because abundance had been this bane in my life, this thorn in my side, this thing that I couldn't do. Notice it's in the past. I really don't feel that way anymore. But I thought, well, what does it mean to me, how will I know when I'm abundant? And I can't remember what the thing was. I'd make a different list now, but I had to list the conditions. And part of the problem with it, of course, was the idea of having more than enough money, or, being able to fix up fix up the house, have enough money to support Sang Marie, pay his school fees, don't have to ask anybody for anything, which of course is not the point, because it's much better to do things as a community than on your own. But it was this idea of just having enough resource to do whatever the heck I wanted with it. And what did I want to do? I wanted to fix my house. I wanted to support my friends. I wanted to have money to give away. I wanted to be able to pay someone to clean the house and maybe whatever. So you list your things, what it actually means when you get that. And really, fundamentally, for most people, by the way, abundance means freedom. Forget the A for abundance. Just go for F for freedom. What does it feel? What does it mean when you're free? What does that actually mean? Oh, well, it means I get enough sleep. Okay, so getting enough sleep. It means that I can get things fixed in my house that annoy the snot out of me for the last 7.5 years. What does it really mean when you're free? Or when you have this beautiful person in your life who is your equal, you got to break it down. What is it? What does it actually mean to you? Because it's different for everybody, and you can't take someone else's definition of freedom or abundance or love or healing or whatever. You've got to work out your own, and sometimes that's really hard. If you've been living with a chronic condition for 42.5 years, it's become who you are. You define your life in terms of what you can and can't do. Can you put on that list that I can run like I did when I was 3.5? That I laugh and it doesn't hurt because all the pain in my body's gone. Can you take something that's completely outside of your box and ignore the yelling in your head that says you're insane, that is impossible, it can't happen because I can't see how, we've got the I can't see hows again, and just put it on the list and say, well, those are the conditions for my freedom, my healing, my abundance, my whatever it is. For my purpose in life, knowing my purpose in life. That's a really tough one, by the way. Because if you don't know your purpose in life, it's like, well, I don't know what the thing is, so I can't put the thing on the list. But you can, we talked about this a couple of days ago, you can say, well, I know I'll be working with people I love, and I know I'll be really enjoying what I'm doing, and, So you kind of have to go sideways, and inways, and outways, and out of the box, away from the thing and how impossible it is, and get into the what's around it and how is your life and who's not there and who is there. It's often about the people we're with and the kind of interactions we're having. See, I'm poking all these buttons, these networks in your brain. Well, okay, so if I'm free, who are the people in my life? Really, that's a fascinating question. If I'm in love with life, how do I feel about the universe, And by that I mean, you see, for me to be in love with life, I am literally in love with the divine intelligence that creates everything. I can do that now. The whole idea of being, in love with life was anathema to me. It was like, no, my life is painful, this is difficult, this is hard, this is scary, and life has it in for me. Being in love with life was the most foreign concept to me on the planet. And I still, however it was that I used to think in being in life with love was, I still don't relate to that. But I relate with being in love with life with a capital L, that divine, universal and personal intelligence that actually has a personality that laughs at me sometimes and loves me so much that, there's always more and more love. That I can be in love with. See, that's what being in love with life means to me now. It doesn't mean whatever it was supposed to mean. So that's the thing, right? And the other side of the paper, how do you feel when your desires are here? Like the experimenters, like the prayers, who's like, I'm so grateful that this DNA has responded to my remote intention and my love and my celebration of it. Oh my God, it's amazing! I did it. And I remember when I was tuning into a particular potential for physical healing, and the potential for not having physical healing was scary as hell. one of the things I realized I was tuning into was the feeling of, oh my God, I did it. I did it. I did it. I did it. It was a massive thing because I overcame myself, right? I don't even know what that word is, something about overcoming or victory or, that was massive. And I think I just ended up writing down, I did it with an exclamation mark because that was so important to me. My God, I beat out my own fears. I beat out my own impossibility. Whatever it is that you are going to feel when you have it. And again, your brain will argue with you and say, you're stupid. Are you crazy? You can't have that. You can't create that. You've tried for the last 43 years. What are you talking about? It's never going to happen. Just stop. Go back to being who you are, who you know to be. Go back to your misery. It's familiar. We know how to do it. Don't ask me to change my neurological and chemical set point because it's uncomfortable. And don't I know it? Is it worth it? Oh, yeah. My God. So this is the raw nuts and bolts. You actually need to work out what it is that your freedom or your healing or your relationship or your purpose or your joy, whatever it is that you desire, what does it mean to you in real life? And if you don't know what the thing is, well, what's around it? How does your life look, feel, taste, smell? What are you doing and not doing when that thing is resolved, whatever it is? And then how do you feel about that? And then when you are, in whatever way you choose, working, and it is work, to create this for yourself, every time you bring that symbol to your mind of H for healing or, whatever, you remember it means those things are going to be present in my life and it means I'm going to feel this, so that's a clear intention, and you bring up some aspect of those feelings. And then you are pairing a clear intention with an elevated emotion. And it feels weird and wrong and difficult and wooden and artificial, and everything that is in you that is not there is going to come up and scream at you and say you can't do this and it's never going to happen. And that is the choice. Do I believe in my past or do I believe in my future? Do I invest my energy in my future or I just fall back into being who I've been all this time? That is quantum creation. That is how it works. And it's an amazing journey. And what happens is, as you go along, you stop even thinking a lot about what it is you desire. You bring the symbol up, you bring up the emotions, and after a while the emotions become habitual, and you just become this person who feels like this. And in that respect, you're already there. And because you're already there, it's going to find you. But you're not waiting for it. You're not looking for it. And when it comes, it's like, oh, this is lovely. Thank you. Woo! Now what? See? That's how it works. So, thank you so much for joining with me. You are part of my creation and I'm part of yours. Big love. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.